Good idea. We're gonna keep looking around like. You're like, oh, what faces are here? And I just keep cutting out. I'm like,
For Ridge Day, oil business. I could really take the agenda to a next level.
You know, jump in the dirt hard and say more, but I have a place
I wouldn't
outside
need
for
that.
to talk about you, so I was just gonna little things going on.
One person's watching?
Yeah.
Hi, person! Hello! It might be my dad.
Oh.
It could,
Could be just kidding. He
Yeah.
said,
Someone
no
does.
thanks.
I'm waiting for the text.
Yeah.
Oh, now it's 0.
What'd you say?
No, it's 0.
Oh.
That person
Well, he,
said,
then he sent in the text.
Oh, yeah.
That's why it's 0.
Well, I was just asking you if there's anybody to so that we can have. Oh.
Personal email.
What's up? You are. I'm glad to have you. How's it feel to be on this side of it? Were you on this side of it for a while before you were?
Hey Jesse, is Justin still drunk?
Oh, bless him. Oh,
Man.
my goodness. He's so good.
He's
Still off the edge of something like.
He wasn't the only one.
Sweet, beautiful
There
child.
was some others.
Good times.
All right. Yeah. Perfect.
All right, we're going to call this meeting to order. Per usual, we start with Pledge of Allegiance. We can sing with me.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, everybody, for coming. I know it was a busy weekend in Pleasant Ridge, and then we had a massive downpour a little over an hour ago, and so it's probably got some people out as well. Before we hop into our community partners, which are typically how we start our meetings, I do want to make a couple of opening remarks. I unintentionally came up with a catchphrase when I was sharing an announcement about the demolition of a couple buildings that we'll get into later. It just said, good things are happening here, and it's a perfect reminder. In our last executive and chair meeting, I was reminded, I had done a lot of reflection between our meetings, and we'd been frustrated about not getting some traction on some things, and I was, hey, all the things that we're setting out to do are happening. Good things are happening here, and there's some things that we would like to move faster, or we would like to get more yeses and more wins, of course. But when you want a lot of good things for your neighborhood, you're gonna miss some of those good things. So I just want to remind everybody, good things are happening here in Pleasant Ridge. I think they have been for a very long time. Very thankful for the people that have been involved for years and years, and for the people who have served on the executive committee long before us. Former President Andrews here tonight, Bill Frost, and a lot of others that have served for a long time trying to make Pleasant Ridge consistently better. Our goal is to see Pleasant Ridge thrive. That's the reason why we're here. I do want to also start off after that by saying thanks to the Ridge Day Committee. And I think we can't say anything other than this past weekend was a massive success. I thought it was awesome. That was the second I've served at, the third I've been to out of 4 that I've lived here for. And it's obviously gotten better and better and better. And you guys will report on that a lot. And I also want to say thanks to the sponsors if they happen to be watching or checking this out. I know that we had more than ever this year, which was pretty awesome, and it really sets us up for success for what the things we plan to do next year. So with that, we will transition to our community partners. Almost none of them are able to be here tonight. The police department has their big night out tonight. It's always this Tuesday of every August, and we have a meeting, so we're here. Officer Martin's there. We do have a report over there for both traffic and just general safety. If you have any questions, you can either direct them to me or to Officer Martin, and we can address those. It looks pretty similar to most of the ones that we've had in the past. We will.
Her email is on your agenda, and email is the best way to reach her, so you can reach her that way.
Bingo. But if you have any questions about any of the incidents, There's some interesting statistics specifically with traffic stops and the crash report and whatnot, that if you have any questions, you can, like I said, you can direct them towards us. Fire department is very clearly not here. And before we get to the library, I want to talk, I'm speaking on behalf of the CRC here. They are wrapping up summer camp. So they've been working very long hours all summer long, taking care of residents' children. They wanted me to highlight the after-school program that's about to be starting with the school year coming. If you are a PRN parent, there is an on-campus after-school program. The first month is $183. The monthly fee after that is $356 a month, and it goes from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. And then the one that's here at the rec center, which serves obviously any of the schools, the first month is $115, and then it's a $220 a month, Monday through Friday, also 2 to 6 at both locations. So they wanted me to highlight that for you if you have children in any of the schools around here, and you were looking for aftercare. My son used to be in this program. I trust him. Feel free to sign up. And then from there, I think we just have our friends in the library.
Hello, I'm Jennifer, manager of the Pleasant Ridge Library. I think everybody here knows me. Yeah, when I was here in June, the state was going through its biennial budget process, and at the time there was some concern about library budgets. So I just wanted to give an update on that. The budget passed with how it affects the Sunday system is a $2 million less revenue this year, and then $2 million next year. So it's a $4 million loss over the next 2 years. Our system has kind of been preparing for that. We have an excellent fiscal officer, so I think she kind of predicted some of this. So some things are already in place. Where you might see the biggest impact is if you are an ebook or e-audiobook user. The licenses for those are extraordinarily expensive for libraries. You might see that you pay, like on Amazon, we pay 5 or 6 times that for one license. So we are going to have to reduce spending in that area a little bit. That might be the biggest impact that you might experience. But I also want to say thank you for everybody who did advocate to the state. You know, it could have been a lot worse. The other thing that our advocacy was really successful on was the proposal to remove any material about gender identity or sexuality, to like basically removing it where it would not be accessible by children or teenagers. So in a library like our size, it would mean removing it completely from the collection because we don't have separate rooms, rather than allowing parents and caregivers to make those decisions for their family. So DeWine vetoed that, so we don't have to worry about that. And that was because of advocacy from community members. So thanks. We have lots of good stuff going on, so just check either our calendar or the Pleasant Ridge calendar.
Thank you, Ms. Jennifer. All right, then we're going to be jumping straight into our executive committee reports. We're doing a little bit different order this month. I'm strange enough that I like to switch things up, so we're actually going to start with our secretary.
I get to go first. As of last night, there was only 2 things on the calendar, and then I found a bunch more, and Jennifer emailed me. So just want to say that even if you are not the person at whatever organization, you still can email me events. So if you see a sign or involved in something here, something happening, just send it to me, because I won't hear about it otherwise. I'd rather get something twice than not at all. Thank you. Oh, yes. And the minutes. Can we approve last month's minutes? All right. Thank you.
Yes.
Honestly, I just use whichever name I know how to spell. So.
Perfect.
We get a lot of hands. It's official, I swear. All right, Miss Jessie, you actually got up next.
All right, well, the biggest thing happening in the treasurer role was, of course, Bridge Day that happened last weekend. That is the biggest fundraising and community event that our council supports each year. So I am going to hold back on any comments with that until we get to the Bridge Day section. But a couple things that I want to bring up outside of Bridge Day that we have spoken about in June and many months prior, of course, is MSP. We all know and love that grant. If you've forgotten about it, we're back. Neighborhood Support Program grant got $10,000 this year to support some programs in our community. Beautification, Ridge Day being one of them, and then the administrative costs on the storage unit.
Storage unit, we had already spent all the money as of the last meeting when we spoke. Ridge Day, we had $3,000. Ridge Day's over, we've absolutely spent all of that. So that budget has been spent. Last piece is beautification. We have one more invoice we're waiting on from Samscaping, our sidewalk and tree ring vendor. That we're gonna expect to secure in the next week or two. And that's literally the last expense for this grant. So we technically have until November to complete all these expenses. We're gonna have it done by August. So I'm gonna get the paperwork in and we'll be done with this nice and early so the city will be very happy with us that everything will be in and will be compliant. So very excited to get that one through and the approved project's done. So NSP, you only hear about it one more time from me, I promise.
This year.
This year, yes, and then of course next year we'll go through it all again. The other piece that in involvement with NSP and really the Invest in Neighborhoods program is that they have this thing, neighborhood mini grants, that they had brought up to us at the beginning of this year, that there would be small grants in twice a year cycles. They did not say how many grants, they didn't say how much money would be in it. I've reached out a couple times trying to get more information. I don't think it's happening. I think that was, hopefully if they had extra money, they would send it out. It doesn't seem like they have it. So fortunately, I don't think we're gonna have these neighborhood mini grants as a funding source, but that's okay. We'll keep our eye out, find more grants. Aaron, our resources guy, is really great to keep his eye out. So we're always looking for more money for the community. The last piece as well, Friends of French Park. Hopefully you got to see that booth at Ridge Day. They had a couple volunteers there speaking. If you remember, we're the fiduciary for them. We got a $1,500 check from Cincinnati Parks that we're acting as fiduciary on for their October planting event. All is on, we got the check after the June meeting, but we have it in our account, so that event is happening in October. I don't have a date. We can have that by the next meeting, but hear a little more about Friends of French Park is coming, and I'm sure we'll have it in the event calendar once we have those details.
Thank you, Jesse. I'm going to transition right into some more financial things, so it's a good segue. And this more acronyms incoming, this is your warning. We joined as a board, we joined Cincinnati Neighborhood Business Districts United, CNBU, which any nonprofit, whether it's a business association, development corporation, or community council can join that. But with that, there's a certain set of funds, and if we go after different projects as different organizations within Pleasant Ridge, only one of them can win. So we're working in solidarity with the other two organizations. And the primary reason why we joined that is because there's a set of funds called Neighborhood Business District Support Funds that are very similar to NSP that we can apply for, that the DC is not currently, or the Development Corporation is not currently applying for, that we can actually take some things off of our budget load with that program, and so that we're able to fund some other projects. We're going to be talking a little bit more about what those projects might be in the coming months. We'll eventually have some sort of a vote because we will need the public to approve. The CC is going to choose what we're going to be using those funds on. It's like an SD but smaller. So the type of projects that would qualify would be paying somebody to do litter removal, paying for landscaping. We could technically do signage or lighting or something, but it's a smaller grant, somewhere between $3,000 and $4,000. So but it does alleviate our budget a bit in a way that we can actually be a bit more flexible for some other projects. So we joined that. The buy-in is actually quite low to be part of that, and so it was a no-brainer for the board to jump on that. Another thing that we've done, which is in partnership with those other organizations, the Business Association, the Development Corporation, is we have actually gone to the city and asked for a TIF allocation fund. So we have a TIF district, which is tax increment financing, a certain set of properties within Pleasant Ridge. All the increase of their property tax since I believe 2022 goes into a special account that has to be used within our community. That currently has $3.4 million in it for general use, and then another almost 1.2 specifically for affordable housing. So what we did is we actually requested, as inspired by similar funds that have happened in Oakley and Madisonville, we requested $2.4 million towards property acquisitions and $1 million towards pedestrian safety and traffic calming. And if they approve of the fund, then we would just work directly with the city department with our prioritized list of projects, and they would work with the contracts until we run out of money, we can keep knocking things off the list. So creating that fund or that program is similar to like an NSP or one of the many other grants for the city that we've gone after, where is a certain amount of money, all the projects come in and only so many can get funded. We're going to be able to do that just within our community. We can get this approved probably several months before we actually know whether or not this is a yay or nay from the city. But we wanted to let you know that we actually officially have requested that. And that puts us in a position where the money goes into our control as opposed to some person outside of our community who wants to build here or do something else, or even the city deciding that they want to divert funds that are already in their budget and put our TIF funds into the project, i.e. the Ridge Road project, which is, as far as we know, going to be funded by outside sources. It puts us in a position where we have a bit more control over the money that's supposed to be spent here. That was a little long-winded, but I hope it's understandable. If you have any questions afterwards, or at least when I'm done, we can go from there. Another thing is we said that we were going to hope by this meeting to be sharing like a strategic plan. We have developed some organizational pillars for PRCC based on the work we're already doing. We grouped them into 4 pillars of work, and then what we were planning to do and have been working on is to actually get a strategic plan. So we would present both of those to the public this month. We were not quite able to get to the finish line on that to be able to present it. We want to make sure it's properly completed for presentation before we want to go there. Our next executive and committee chairs meeting, we're going to be spending a large amount of time on making sure that this work is done for September. So I wanted to let you know about that. Speaking of September, we are likely to have long and packed meetings in September and October. City Council hopefuls have already been emailing about wanting to come and speak. We had somebody come who works for the city and the county on senior resources, who wants to come present a bunch of stuff. And when I said we only have up to 10 minutes, she said I will need a lot more than that amount of time. So we're trying to figure out how to make that work. And I have one other potential special presentation. And then we found out today, if not today, a few weeks ago, and it may be confirmed soon, that DOTB may also be coming back to talk about the Ridge project. So we have a lot of things happening in the next 2 meetings. So buckle up. Hope you can join. If you're afraid to be here for a long one, I understand. But also a lot of good things are happening here, which means we're going to have a lot of people coming to present a lot of things. So a couple more things from me. Star Hilton Davis. Some of you may have been involved in discussion on Facebook, maybe on the history of the property and all the things that have gone down there. I know Kodak owned it at one point. A lot of things have happened. They have ceased production. They have finished all of the disbursement of anything that was produced there. They're going to continue to operate one warehouse on the property. Otherwise, they're going to spend from the start of July through the end of this year doing nothing but cleanup. Their goal is to have it to be done well before the end of the year so that everything's signed off by Ohio EPA. So if you have any questions about that, you can contact me directly, whether from an email or talking to me after the meeting. But I wanted to make sure everybody knows they actually have to keep us updated. If they're delayed at all, they have to contact us to let us know if there's a delay. If there's any sort of risk, they have to contact us directly. Otherwise, they run into issues with the Ohio EPA. I also want to quickly bring up since I got involved in community council, we have been growing. A lot of people have signed on to help in a lot of ways. We have a whole new communications committee. We have a new youth committee. We have parks committee. Some of these things were started in concept years ago and have come to fruition. All of the committees have room and are open doors for more help. So if you want to be involved in the community whatsoever, I'm mostly talking to the camera here, seeing as everybody in this room is basically highly involved. There is an open door, but I specifically want to highlight a few. This meeting, and we'll talk about more. Obviously, the youth committee, if you have a teenager in Pleasant Ridge, we would love to connect you to the girls primarily who have already started the youth committee so that we can start to gain traction in that area. It's a brand new, they had a car wash that was a huge success. When we get to the committee reports, I'll share a little bit of what they've shared with me. They had great success in Ridge Day, which was awesome. I believe they added 2 to their ranks even, so that committee's up to 5 people. The other ones I want to highlight are 2 of them are Parks and Safety, 2 men that I appreciate a lot for all the work that they've done, but they're kind of on an island. They're doing all the stuff by themselves. We would love to give them support. Parks does kind of you think about green spaces, places in Pleasant Ridge where not only are there plants, but there's people. That's Parks. Safety, obviously they have access to our security cameras and coordinate that, but anytime there's any sort of safety concern in the community, they step up and they get involved in that area. We've had a lot of reports about some questionable activity down off Maple Leaf, and Brandon has been faithful to continue to stay on top of that and stay in communication and taking the next steps that we can as volunteers in the community. And the last one is beautification. I know that there are a lot of people who fill water in the plants for the cypress and flowers throughout Pleasant Ridge, but the beautification committee has bigger goals. They'd like to do some litter cleanups and some other activities within Pleasant Ridge, maybe even potential adopt a block among families, but Mike is also out kind of on an island by himself outside of the box, so we'd like to give him support. My goal is that no committee is included with a standalone person, that every committee has a few people that are working together, collaborating, and serving the community, moving things forward, even if slowly. Everything we wanted to start with Parks, we've started and it's going well. Everything we wanted to do with safety, we are a relatively very safe community within the city of Cincinnati, and so on and so forth. Things are moving forward, good things are happening here, and but I wanted to highlight those as potential areas for you to get involved.
And all of their emails are on your agenda. So notice a theme here, emails on the agenda.
And if you can't find it on the agenda for some reason, just contact us and we'll put you in contact. The last thing I want to hit on is related to one of the committees. We in the last couple of weeks wrote to the mayor and to the city council, Josh and I should say, urging them to work towards a solution to what is an increased rate of violence in downtown and OTR. Typically, the tack we've taken is to focus on the issues that are Pleasant Ridge issues, but regardless, we are all City of Cincinnati residents. We all are patrons of businesses and places that are in those areas, and there's an uptick of violent crime. And we simply ask elected officials to exhibit strong leadership finding solutions to this issue so that our residents and our guests know that their safety is a priority. I know that there's a lot of different ways to look at issues like this, but if there's a rise in violent crime, something has to be done. So I just want to let you know that we did write a letter asking them to, hey, get on this. I know it's a break time for city council. Sometimes you got to come off a break to solve an issue if it's a continued pattern of issue. Of issues. So that's the end of mine. That's the end of my report. We had been always doing questions at the end of our reports, and I know that we didn't do any of that yet. Does anybody have any questions? Great.
Thank you. All right, everyone, good to see your faces, those that are in the room and online. So I'm Josh Wellman. It's an honor to serve as your vice president. I wanted to touch on what Jeff shared as well, and I'm known for being a little long-winded, so I kind of just wrote a little bit of a statement out so this feels more formal, but I wanted to make sure that I kind of pre-thought through it. So I wanted to talk about something hard tonight. I think it's super important, and I think the folks in this room are not afraid of hard conversations, but we address them head on. So Cincinnati is my hometown, as I've shared before. I think this is a city worth fighting for. As many of you know, I'm a dad and a husband and a neighbor, like many of you, and I was just really troubled by the events that happened just over a week ago downtown. As you know, it was in the early morning hours of July 26th. A large group of people brutally attacked 2 individuals. It was pretty violent, senseless, and really troubling to me, and I believe that kind of brutality has no place in our city. So on behalf of myself and our community, I want to condemn the violence that we've seen My heart and my family's prayers go out to those victims, especially Holly, who's a single working mom. She's suffered significant injuries. I don't think she deserved that, and we stand in support and solidarity with her. I think moments like this test who we are as a city. I think this is the time for accountability, kind of like Jeff was talking about, unity, and then just having really honest conversations, not just talking, but actually taking action. So I'm grateful to the people in our government and outside of our city government who've stepped in, they've stepped up. I think they're raising their voices. I do think we need more. We need more data and transparency and just serious planning to make sure that our communities really are safe. Unfortunately, instead of leadership, I think we also witnessed something really disappointing. So Councilmember Victoria Parks made a public comment that appeared to condone or justify the violent attack. They were very offensive and I think disqualifying. I want to thank the mayor and vice mayor, as well as council members Jeffries, Owens, and Walsh, who courageously condemned those remarks, and I stand with them in doing the same. I think we need to go one step further. I believe that Councilmember Parks should resign immediately. I don't think there's any place in our government for a voice of division that excuses or downplays violence. Her presence in public office undermines that, and unity is what we're fighting for, and I think we deserve better. So even in moments like this, I actually remain super hopeful. So I look at this room, I look at the people sitting up here, and I see neighbors that care and are willing to stand up and speak out and to lead with heart. So Pleasant Ridge is a super powerful example of that. I think we saw that this weekend at Ridge Day. We take care of each other, we show up, we move forward, not with fear, but with purpose. So I'm gonna keep that spirit going. And as we move forward, I love our Cincinnati motto. So it's jump to Juvan, which means strength and unity. So these are difficult moments. These are not fun things to talk about or witness or see being broadcast about our city. But I think our strength comes from unity, not from blame or division, and that we get to be accountable to one another. So thanks for being here tonight. Thank you for listening as I talk through this. I really think if we come together, which I'm seeing and powerful, and people are coming out and they're standing in support, that I think we can figure this out. So thank you all. And then I have more. So Pleasant Ridge stuff. Thanks for letting me read that. Back to Pleasant Ridge. So PRDC updates. So development updates. NCCIP, Neighborhood Catalytic Capital Investment Program. So Yard & Company helped us kick off a huge survey to look at what do residents want for our neighborhood, what are challenges they're facing. Over 364 people responded, which was incredible. So thank you for all of those that helped collect responses. The results, I think, really attested to what we've seen broadly across the board. 55% of people said they wanted a more vibrant business district with cleaned up storefronts, less vacant buildings. 27% wanted better walkability and accessibility. And then when we asked folks, what are you leaving Pleasant Ridge for that you'd like to have here? Folks said they wanted more entertainment and evening options, so having their date night here in Pleasant Ridge, maybe even having concert venues, places to listen to live music, etc., and then more parking and public use space. So I think broadly that is no surprise, but it's great to see that the things that PRDC and Pleasant Ridge Community Council are working on are what the residents want. So we're continuing to review all of those results. Phase 2 is when we actually start taking all of that and putting together different opportunities and plans for the sites that Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation is in control of. You will actually start to see some of that progress next week. So the week of August 11th is when 6100 Montgomery and the BK should be coming down. Yes.
Well, maybe we should hold our applause until it happens.
I'm trying to get a specific date and time to do a fun watch party, but that is an elusive date and time. So I don't know, maybe I'll just look for the Pleasant Ridge Facebook group to see when it's coming down. You might find out before me. So please text or email. Yes, take early morning walks. We need scouts out and about in the neighborhood. So getting to what happens once the buildings come down. 6100, so the corner of Ridge and Montgomery, the old jewelry store. That is going to be an interim pocket park. They will use seed and straw, so they're tearing the building down, filling it in with dirt and whatever else they need to. It'll be a flat looking lot with seed and straw. There probably won't be grass until next spring. Once the grass grows, we then can move in maybe some tables, chairs, try to make it somewhat more beautiful. It's an interim solution, so it definitely will look like a whole as we work on finding a long-term development partner for that specific site. New paragraph, Burger King. Burger King's coming down all the way. And what will happen with that site is that we actually, I'm excited to announce with the property next door, so Boulder, Hollywood, UD Academy, and Youthland, we are under contract on that property, so Pleasant Ridge Development Corporation. And we have a memorandum of understanding, so an MOU with a developer. So this is almost like a courting. I'll use a relationship analogy. We're officially courting them, they're courting us on here's what a development could look like on this site. So it would stretch from the Boulder, Hollywood, UD Academy all the way through the Burger King. We are taking, as you'll see kind of strategically, all the input from the community on what are you looking for, what is missing in the neighborhood. We are taking all of that as we work with Yard & Co. and the benefit of the neighborhood. So the neighborhood owns the Burger King and the neighborhood is under contract on the property next door. As we're working with developers, when you own the land, you have significant leverage, significant leverage on getting what works best for the neighborhood. So we're super excited about that. I think great things will come from it. We can't share more details than that because there aren't really any more to share at this point as we're trying to figure out exactly what it will look like. But great to see progress. That's probably the last largest remaining significant development site in the business district. And so it'll be great to see that transformed. So that is all. And I can answer any questions from my long-winded section. All right.
Someone told me when I made the video about the Burger King and the corner lot coming down the week of August 11th, they reminded me that I did not share what year that it was coming down. And I thought that was pretty funny. It's supposed to be this year. We don't.
Like
We'll let you know
next
if we. It's supposed to be next week, so we will let you know if we don't open until August. That's awesome. So,
Sorry, to go back. The Burger King lot in Boulder, Hollywood will still be open for parking until something actually gets built. So once the BK comes down, there still will be parking available there.
we're sure there's no more questions. Okay, awesome. So we're gonna go to the committee reports. I'll have to look over the shelves. We're gonna start with safety. You have
I should alphabetize them.
Welcome, Brandon.
Thank you. I'm Brandon. I'm the chair of the safety committee. We meet monthly on the Monday following this meeting. So we'll be meeting this coming Monday, except when this council doesn't meet till January and July.
You got it.
I got it right this time. So yeah, come on out. High five the first round. Feel like a drink. And just if you want to chat about any concerns you have in your neighborhood.
Good fellas, right?
Good fellas, yes. Places are important for meetings.
It's in the agenda.
So yeah, come on out. We're definitely recruiting new members. If you just want to come and discuss any issues you're having. We could also use some help with citizens on patrol. That is something that City Police runs. You have to get certified. It's a pretty quick certification process, but we need 3 people to do the patrol, and we currently have exactly 3 people certified. So, yeah, including myself. So getting us all together is pretty difficult, but would love to have you.
Can you explain, for people who don't know, can you explain a little bit of what you
Yeah,
do with that?
Citizens on Patrol, you go for a very short training, and then it's kind of exactly what it is. There's a story view, you get a radio that is connected directly to the Hampton County Dispatch, and we get to pick kind of the areas that we're gonna walk through, just really as a sort of a visual component of, this is, safety is a community involved aspect of what we do here. It's not just kind of turn the police and let them figure it out. So, things that just to dispel any rumors, things that we're definitely not going to be doing is running after people or anything like that. That's definitely not what we do. But really, it's just to be a visual component of the safety committee and to kind of show that there's some other folks other than police that are kind of out here looking in on things. So that's what that is. If you're not interested in that, but you're still interested in being involved, we're always recruiting folks for Block Watch, which frankly is exactly what happens on Facebook, except in a more localized and hopefully more controlled aspect. But basically, we have lots of Block Watches in the neighborhood, and it's email change. Barbara here, she's one of our Block Watch captains. Email change. Some folks have Facebook groups, but some folks have actually taken it a step further, and they use that as a venue to organize block parties and things like that. I know one yacht folks are pretty good at every year. They actually file a permit to shut down their street for Halloween.
Yeah, we do.
So,
Oh no, not we do a Labor Day.
Oh, Labor Day? Okay. I do, well, there was one.
Bellwood does
Halloween.
Halloween. Parkview does Labor Day.
Okay. So it really makes for a really safe environment. And that was something that they initiated outside of PRCC. So just a way to make this a little more of a friendlier place. Officer Martin usually comments on the specifics of the statistics. She has usually all the information on all the things that are happening. I don't have that luxury this time, but what I will say is if you look at the Pleasant Ridge Neighborhood Report, the bottom left-hand corner will give you the crime stats for the current 28 days. Police department runs a 28-day calendar. I'm not sure why, but that's what they do. So current 28 days, and then the last 28 days. If you look at the top part of that graph, with violent crimes, we're doing really well. If you look at the bottom half, not so great. And contributing to that, if you look there, is theft from autos and auto thefts. Now, we do have, I think, nationwide an issue with auto thefts. So just a reminder to remove all your valuables from your vehicle when you leave it unattended, whether that be in your driveway or on the street or anything like that. I think that's kind of a nationwide thing that we're battling, so it's not just specific to Pleasant Ridge. The other one is auto theft, so people stealing cars. We've talked with CBD many times about this. The old hotwiring a car thing almost rarely happens. A police lieutenant could remember the last time he got one of those. There's two things that drive the auto thefts. The first one is if you have a Hyundai or Kia and you haven't taken it to your dealer, they have an issue with the way they design certain models of certain cars. And right now there's a recall, so you can take it to your dealer and get that fixed. But that is those two manufacturers are really driving a lot of it. And again, it's a nationwide thing. They're driving a lot of car thefts. The other one is something that people don't really consider is your key fobs. I can tell you how many times people leave their key fobs in their car or leave their car running when they're going to the gas station or what have you, and somebody just kind of walks up and drives away with it. And especially keep track of your spare key fob. There's at least one every other month where someone said, "Why I took my key fob and I locked the car, but their spare one was in the car." And your car, if it's keyless, if it's push button start, it doesn't lock when there's a key fob in the car. So not only is the car not locked, it's ready to go. You just buy it. So keep track of all of that, and that should help to drive down some of those issues in our neighborhood. I know that what we've typically seen in the past is it's not people that are individually targeted, it's just sort of a kind of opportunity where they kind of walk down the street and they just start pulling door handles. So that gets me to my last topic is if you kind of see something, say something. All these metrics are used by the police to decide where to put their limited resources. And when we go to the police and say we have this issue, they'll say, okay, well, they'll pull the call logs and they'll see, what does it look like? Because they're comparing it to all the other neighborhoods, right? So if you see something, definitely call in either the non-emergency number or 911, depending on how severe the issue is. And if you'd like, you can email me and I can help escalate that to Officer Martin so that we can address those issues. But that's something we definitely need to kind of get their attention to the issue. And I have lots of examples where we didn't have calls for service on different things, but I won't bore you on. But that's my spiel.
Thank you.
Questions?
Streets.
As
Sure, questions.
Pleasant Streets comes up, I do want to double down. I know we have questions, so you can. As Pleasant Streets comes up, I do want to double down that if something is not reported through 311 Cincy or by calling the non-emergency number, which is 311, the police department does not take it as seriously. I'm just doubling down on that because we hear over and over we don't have any data for that. So if there's not data, they will begin their search. So you may have a regular problem, but if you're just going to Facebook and not actually using 311, the police department will be very behind the eight ball in helping to fix that problem. So wanted to double down on that. So Pleasant Streets is up next.
Hi, everyone. Not a whole lot of new news to report, but we do have the Ridge Road project, which we thought was going to be put off until 2027. We learned it's actually going to be happening in 2026. And DOTE wants to meet with us. We have a subgroup of our Pleasant Streets team who put together some really good ideas for the first round. A lot of those things can be executed, but they've gotten some more money. They want to meet with us again and see what they can do. We have questions to them about can we continue applying for more money so we can do even more safety features. It's primarily a repaving project, but we want to make sure that we can build as many pedestrian safety features into the design as well. It's the first and last time we'll be able to do that for a very long time. So we will probably be having a meeting with them about that particular project, and we may be talking about some other things at a separate meeting, and we'll make sure that we communicate that. If you are not on the Pleasant Streets team, you want to be on the email list, I think we have our email address on the agenda. There we go. So just write us and we'll make sure and add you. The other thing is that sometime this week I hear that we are going to be getting word about whether we are one of the communities that is getting a grant we applied for in February. We asked specifically for two things. One was speed cushions on Woodford and another one by Pleasant Ridge Montessori on Montgomery Road. Very likely we will, if we get anything at all, it will just be one of those things. And if we had to choose, it would probably be Pleasant Ridge Montessori. We've had a lot of issues in that area in the last year. And with the new apartment coming on board, there's going to be a lot more traffic. So we will communicate that when we hear about it. And I think that's about it for now.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. Mike Cummings with Beautification is away on vacation today, and they also don't really have anything to report other than if you have a flower pot that you volunteered to care for, please make sure that it stays watered, even though it happened from the heavens today. Next would be Parks Committee, who is nodding. He's going, nope, I got nothing today, which is great. Take care of little trees, and if you find little trees that you could put in pots to potentially plant somewhere in the fall, you could be like me and Eric and start to take care of them now. And others. I found a tree that I love growing among the weeds, and I was able to put it in a pot, and it's gonna be planted in someone's house eventually.
I only have a faces in my yard, so.
Don't we all?
Bridge Day!
Bridge
Yay!
Hi, I hope that you were all at Rich Day Saturday. Almost everybody in here was, but I can tell. We had an amazing Rich Day. This was my 21st year on the Rich Day committee, and it was, I swear this was the best year. This was amazing. We don't have final numbers, but with our best reasonable estimates, with a few things left to come in, we're guaranteed to have made over $11,000 this year. Very excited to see what all we can put that money to. I have not personally heard anything but good stuff. I'm sure there's somebody out there who has something else to say, but the vast majority of people were just really happy about everything. I mean, we had a great band, we had amazing drinks, we had good food, we had an absolute ton of stuff for kids to do. We had a huge crowd. First year ever, we took some counts, so now we can start tracking that. We've never had any counts of the numbers, and I don't actually know what those counts were.
It was 350 early.
Early.
And then, I don't remember what the late count was.
I have a peak count, but I don't know that I will share that currently.
Okay. So, but we took counts at about 3 different times, and so we can start to build on that year over year. And I have the feeling that it will grow, because I know I talked to at least 3 people just in my ticket selling business. One guy just happened to be passing by. He knew nothing about it, and he was having the time of his life.
Aww.
Someone else had just moved to the Ridge. They didn't really know about it either, but like last minute found out about it, came up. They were having a grand time. They were loving the Ridge. I didn't hear anyone fussing about anything. They were just all like having a good time, which is what it's all about. So thank you for everyone who came, for everyone who volunteered, for everyone who sponsored, for everyone who donated time, money, love, all of that stuff. We actually got a new committee member in the cleanup phases and conversation. We have a new young man who wants to join us next year, so we'll be back at it in February. Anyone who's interested, we also have an email on the agenda.
Yeah, we do.
Feel free to reach out to us. Thanks. Any questions? Cool.
Big thanks to you. I had a blast. I even had fun blowing a lot with my blower right at a time. We were just having a good time together.
I had fun picking up litter.
Yeah.
It only took half an hour. Next is communications.
Yes.
Hello, I'm Kelly. I think I know most people in this room. The only thing I wanted to say is we are still looking for pitches for the summer quarterly. That's gonna go out later this month. I think we have a piece from Jim for sure that's queued up, a historic piece, so excited about that. But I'd rather hear from you guys rather than me write all the pieces. So if you have anything, I'll take pictures, I'll take words, I'll take an idea. So yeah, looking for things to beef up the newsletter, so please let me know. My email is on the agenda. Yes.
I forgot that. So
It's not coming out yet, but we're gonna send out a Rich Day survey, kind of like just trying to understand where people learned about the event, where they walked by, what neighborhoods they came from, was it a flyer in town, word of mouth, things like that, and yeah, just things that we can do to make sure we get the word out for even better events next year. So cool, thank you.
Thank you so much. That's another team. You guys are awesome, but I would love if there's people in the community who love social media or any other form of communication who would like to join the ranks and be supportive of that team. I think it'd be great. We're trying to get better and better at making sure we get more and more information out all the time, making it more interactive. So that is an awesome thing that you do. That reel you guys posted today was super fun.
Thank you. It was fun.
All right, so the youth committee, we have a liaison for the youth committee. It's an adult liaison, happens to be a parent of one of the youth. She wanted me to report that they sold all 40 of their vouchers for the next car wash that they're going to be doing probably in September, which is pretty amazing. They had a what felt like a small start, but was a successful start to their first car wash, and now they have this thing going, plus they believe they've added 2 committee members. So they're doing a great job. We do want to publicly thank Pleasant Ridge Presbyterian Church for donating the water and the space for that first car wash, and I'm guessing likely the second one. She wanted to make sure that I shouted them out for that, so we're grateful for that contribution. If you have a teenager, we can connect you. I'm pretty sure there's not an email there.
There's an email.
There's an email. We got you all the emails you need. And so from there, we have our resources committee. We don't have anything to report there. Essentially, that's also another one-person committee. But the biggest thing he's doing is organizing us around the known grants that are available, and then he's going to look for more grants for us to be able to apply for, to be able to do more things. Again, a lot of people sometimes question what happens with these funds. So we make it very clear. I know everybody in this room probably understands that. To everyone online who may watch this video, eventually, no one here gets any money. It all goes back into the community. It goes to litter cleanups. It goes to landscaping. It goes to putting on more events. It goes to all sorts of things. So the idea is to continue to grow that pot in any way possible, so we can do more and more and more and more. We've got vision for more community events. We've got vision for a lot of things that we could add to the community and potentially fund through these fundraisers and these grants that are available. So that is my resources conversation. And we do not have school liaisons here today, but we may have some information.
PRM. Yeah. So I did get an email yesterday from PRM. They had a couple things that were open to the community coming up, because since school is about to start. One is the 18th from 5 to 7, which is their back to school bash. And then the day of school starting on the 20th, which is Wednesday, from 7:15 to 8 a.m., there's a Million Father March. And I don't really know what that is, but I'm not a father, so I didn't pick it. You know what that is?
So the dads create a big cheering line for the kids entering school. On that first day. There is a bit of a kickoff party also for the county that morning. So if you're more connected or a little outside of town, they're doing a similar kind of hoopla to get the kids excited. I know it freaks some kids out because my son was freaked out, but it is awesome to see a bunch of dads there before work celebrating kids starting the school year. I thought it was one of the best things about starting it when we did.
I do have more. They're also looking for donations of, she specifically said, backpacks, new or gently used, and things for the staff to get them through the first couple of weeks. I have no examples of what that could be. That, caffeine probably. I don't know. So I have reached out to the business association. They're meeting tomorrow morning, and hopefully one or two of them will be willing to put out a box for us too, because I think a lot of people would happily donate, but making it easy will be much better. So that's all.
Awesome.
No, I'm
Thanks.
done.
I don't want to steal your thunder. All right, so I think that does it for our committee reports. One of the things we're messing with and what we're doing in preparation for executive meetings is we're actually filling out reports ahead of time for everybody to review, so we don't spend time just sharing the news. We come knowing what's going on, and then we can discuss what needs to be discussed. To some degree, we can never really do that in a public meeting, but it would be nice if eventually we can get to that point because we want to make it more interactive, more time for discussion, questions, etc. Just giving you a heads up there that is a potential goal where we might do a little bit less reporting, a little bit more interaction on topics, and maybe even just shorten our meetings, which I'm sure everybody would love. So now we have time for public comment, and that's always up to 2 minutes. Anybody who wants to come up and share into the microphone, thoughts, information, whatever, you may begin to make way to the front.
I will, because I forgot something.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here looking at your shirt. So, two things about this shirt. First of all, you too can own this shirt.
What?
Yeah. Look at find our Pleasant Ridge Facebook page. If you can't find it, email us. We will get you hooked up. They're only on sale till I want to say Saturday or Sunday, so you got to get that order in. Secondly, probably everyone in this room knows this, but maybe not everyone online knows this. This is not Texas. This is Pleasant Ridge, okay? I could not believe, I did not personally hear that question Saturday night. Nobody said, why do you guys have Texas on your shirt?
I got the question.
Did you? So, yeah, I found that very interesting. We all were expecting that question. But
Quite like Texas.
this is not quite like Texas, but first glance, it's
We
what
need
it
to
looks
look at a
like.
map a little more.
But this is what Pleasant Ridge looks like, and now you know, and now you can proudly wear Pleasant Ridge. And they're only $20. Go figure.
And they're really soft, like, I really do
Super
like
soft.
it, yeah.
I get pictures.
It's a
Did
good.
you feel my shirt?
Thank you.
Wow.
All right, it didn't look like anybody was gonna come up for public comment, so before we bring the meeting or call for an adjournment, is there any questions that we can answer one more time? Talked about a lot, development plans, et cetera. Any concern? All right, we have a motion to adjourn. We have a motion to, do we have a second?
Come on, someone second the
Got a
motion.
second.
Thank
Andrew,
You're-
get his
you're-
name in the notes. Awesome. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you for coming, everybody.